By the turn of the 20th century, Europe was on the brink of explosion. Imperialism had led to fierce global competition, especially in Africa and Asia. Nations vied for colonies, prestige, and economic dominance. Industrialization fueled nationalism and militarism, and countries modernized their armies and navies at breakneck speed. Germany, unified only in 1871, rapidly industrialized and built a world-class military. Its naval arms race with Britain, the world's premier maritime power, heightened tensions. France, still bitter over losing Alsace-Lorraine to Germany in the Franco-Prussian War 1870-1871, sought revenge and security. Austria-Hungary, a decaying empire, faced increasing ethnic unrest among Slavs, particularly Serbs. Russia positioned itself as protector of the Slavs and rival to Austria in the Balkans. The Balkans saw rising tensions as former Ottoman territories vied for independence or expansion. 2 Balkan Wars 1912-1913 left the region unstable. 2 Key alliances formed. Triple Alliance: Germany, Austria-Hungary, Italy, though Italy would later switch sides. Triple Entente: France, Britain, Russia, a response to German assertiveness. This system meant that a conflict between two states could easily trigger a continental war. On June 28, 1914, Archduke Franz Ferdinand, heir to the Austro-Hungarian throne, visited Sarajevo, Bosnia, recently annexed by Austria. There, he and his wife Sophie were assassinated by Gavrilo Princip, a 19-year-old Bosnian Serb and member of Young Bosnia, supported by the Serbian nationalist group Black Hand. Austria blamed Serbia and, after securing Germany's support known as the blank check assurance, issued an ultimatum with impossible demands. Serbia accepted most, but not all terms, leading Austria-Hungary to declare war on July 28, 1914. Russia, backing Serbia, began mobilizing. Germany, allied with Austria, declared war on Russia and France, and invaded neutral Belgium to reach France. Britain, protector of Belgium and ally of France, declared war on Germany. Within 1 week, Europe was engulfed in a war that had been waiting to erupt. Germany's war plan, the Schlieffen Plan, aimed to avoid a two-front war by defeating France quickly through Belgium, then turning east to face Russia, which would take longer to mobilize. The Germans advanced rapidly through Belgium, but committed atrocities, such as executing civilians, provoking global outrage. French and British forces halted the German advance at the First Battle of the Marne, September 1914, a pivotal Allied victory. The Germans retreated and dug in. Both sides dug elaborate trench systems, stretching 500 miles from the North Sea to Switzerland. These trenches were fortified with barbed wire, machine guns, and artillery. Life in the trenches was horrific. Soldiers faced constant shelling, mud, rats, lice, trench foot, and poor rations. New weapons: machine guns, poison gas, chlorine, then mustard, flamethrowers, and later tanks made frontal assaults devastating. Despite massive offensives, little ground was gained. Battles like Verdun 1916 and the Somme 1916 led to over 1 million casualties each. Unlike the static Western Front, the Eastern Front was marked by mobility. Germany defeated the Russian army at Tannenberg and the Masurian Lakes 1914, destroying entire Russian divisions. Austria-Hungary fared worse, suffering defeats at the hands of Russia and Serbia. Russia's massive size and manpower gave it an initial advantage, but poor infrastructure, outdated tactics, and internal dissent weakened its war effort. In the Balkans, Serbia held out against Austria until 1915, when Germany and Bulgaria joined the campaign and overran it. Romania joined the Allies in 1916, but was quickly defeated by German forces. The Ottoman Empire, siding with the Central Powers, faced multiple fronts in the Caucasus against Russia, in Mesopotamia and Palestine against Britain, and in the Gallipoli Campaign 1915-1916, where Allied forces, including Anzac troops, failed to secure the Dardanelles. The campaign was a costly disaster for the Allies, but helped forge national identities in Australia and New Zealand. The war became a battle of economies and willpower. Governments took control of industries, rationed food and materials, censored media, and conscripted millions. Women entered factories, drove ambulances, and served as nurses, changing gender roles permanently. Propaganda depicted the enemy as barbaric and rallied public support. Blockades were key. British Royal Navy blockaded Germany, leading to severe shortages and starvation. Germany responded with unrestricted submarine warfare, targeting Allied and neutral shipping, including the Lusitania in 1915, killing 1,198 civilians. Underscore. Russia was collapsing under the strain of war. Military defeats, economic chaos, and public anger led to the February Revolution, March 1917 Gregorian, forcing Tsar Nicholas II to abdicate. That a provisional government took power but kept Russia in the war. In October-November Gregorian calendar, the Bolsheviks, led by Vladimir Lenin, overthrew the government in the October Revolution. Lenin, promising peace, land, and bread, signed the Treaty of Brest-Litovsk March 1918, ceding vast territory to Germany. This allowed Germany to shift troops west for a final offensive. Underscore. In 1917, Germany resumed unrestricted submarine warfare, hoping to cut off Britain before the U.S. could react. The Zimmermann Telegram, a German offer to Mexico to join the war against the U.S., was intercepted and published, sparking American outrage. On April 6, 1917, the U.S. declared war on Germany, though it took time to mobilize. By mid-1918, over 1 million American troops had arrived in Europe. Fresh U.S. forces helped the Allies resist the German spring offensive. July 1918, Germany's last major push. Battles like Cantigny, Château-Thierry, and Belleau would mark the U.S. arrival as a decisive force. Allied counterattacks began the 100 Days Offensive, forcing German retreat. Germany's allies began to crumble. Bulgaria surrendered in September 1918. The Ottoman Empire capitulated in October. Austria-Hungary, racked by internal revolts and ethnic uprisings, surrendered in November. On November 9, Kaiser Wilhelm II abdicated, and Germany became a republic. On November 11, 1918, at 11 a.m., the armistice took effect. The guns fell silent. The Paris Peace Conference began in 1919. Dominated by the Big Four: Wilson U.S., Lloyd George UK, Clemenceau France, and Orlando Italy. It sought to reshape the world. The Treaty of Versailles, signed on June 28, 1919, imposed harsh terms on Germany except full war guilt. Article 231, pay reparations, lose territories: Alsace-Lorraine, colonies, Polish corridor. Limit military size, Rhineland to be demilitarized. Germany saw it as a diktat and imposed humiliating treaty. The Austro-Hungarian and Ottoman empires were dismantled. New countries emerged: Czechoslovakia, Yugoslavia, Poland, Finland, Baltic states. The League of Nations was created to maintain peace, but the U.S. never joined. World War I caused over 17 million deaths and 20 million wounded. It ended monarchies, reshaped borders, and introduced modern warfare. It sowed seeds of resentment and revenge, especially in Germany, leading directly to the rise of Nazism and World War II. The war also led to major social changes. Women's rights movements gained momentum, empires collapsed, and global politics shifted from Europe to the emerging power of the United States. The sense of disillusionment and trauma defined a generation, the lost generation of soldiers, artists, and thinkers.